The new Samsung Galaxy devices are here, so let's take a look at them. So of course, you know, we've got three models: the Galaxy S25, the S25 Plus, and of course, the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, per usual, you're gonna have different colors with the regular models compared to the Ultra. The regular models are gonna come in icy blue, silver shadow, mint, and navy. And I actually really like the mint and navy colors. They've got that more saturated look to it. To me, those are my favorite. Now with the S25 Ultra, we're looking at Titan gray, Titan white silver, Titan black, and Titan silver blue. Now the silver blue looks more like it's more on the purplish side, and the black one's interesting because it's more of like a two-tone color now, since the black is in the back and the sides are more of like a natural titanium finish. Now outside of the colors, these are largely the same designs, except with the Ultra, it now has more rounded edges, so they're not going to be as sharp as with the S24 Ultra. Now I didn't really mind the harder edges on the S24 Ultra, but now that they're rounded, I'm sure it's going to be a lot more comfortable to hold in the hand, especially if you're not using a case. And with my short amount of time being able to handle the devices, they felt comfortable, they felt familiar. So comfort-wise in the hand, it's very much in line with what we'd expect. I know some people might be disappointed that there's not some kind of drastic overhaul with the design, but similar to the iPhone, I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These are very solid designs that feel premium and look good. I'm not complaining, except I wish there were more fun colors with the S24 Ultra. Although there are like 3 online exclusive colors that I wasn't able to see in person on Unpacked Day, which is gonna be today. I'll probably be looking at the same time as you guys. Now, one upgrade that they did do with the S25 Ultra is with the front glass panel. It now has the enhanced Corning Gorilla armor. So that is going to be a stronger glass, so it's going to help make it more durable. But of course, we're gonna have to see how it deals in the real world. All right, so that's pretty much everything on the outside. Let's talk about what's under the hood. Now, powering the S25 line is the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. And what's nice here is that the entire line has the same processor, which is really great if you're looking at the cheaper models, since you still get all that power. And these are made for the Galaxy devices, so that means they're going to be a little bit more optimized to run on these Galaxy devices. And we've also got 12 gigs of RAM across the board. Now, when it comes to storage, each model is going to have a different range, with the Ultra being able to go all the way up to 1 terabyte. And in terms of battery, with the S25, we're looking at 4,000 milliamp hours. With the S25 Plus, we're looking at 4,900 milliamp hours. And with the S25 Ultra, 5,000 milliamp hours. Now, in terms of the cameras, we're not looking at too many changes here, except on the Ultra, it now has a 50 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, which is great. It went from 12 to 50. We're gonna see how that does for, you know, low light performance. That's always my big thing. But what's nice here is with that 50 megapixels, if you wanna get those really close macro shots, these are gonna be higher res images, which is obviously gonna help when you wanna zoom in on your macro shot and still see a lot of detail. But we're gonna talk about camera features a little bit later, but hardware wise, that's the biggest change. So I think you kind of see a theme here, right? Not a lot has changed in terms of the overall hardware, but where we're going to see a lot of change is actually with software. So Samsung is introducing the latest version of their UI, which is called One UI 7. And this is the biggest software upgrade that we've seen Samsung make in years. And there are a lot of nice changes here and a lot of AI. Visually, one of the biggest changes you're gonna see is that drop-down menu where you have access to all of your settings, notifications. It looks a lot cleaner. Also kind of looks like Control Center with the iPhone, but I'm not mad at it. You can basically customize your different toggles and sliders right within that menu, and also have a nice interface when you're like playing music. Obviously, I'll have to get my hands on it and start tweaking it to fit my needs, but I like the flexibility here, and I think it looks really clean. Now, they've added another feature called the Now Brief, and within this section, you'll be able to see like all the things you want to keep track of, like the weather in the morning, any appointments that you might have coming up, news that you might be interested in. It's a very tailored experience for the user. Based on what I've seen with it, it feels like a morning paper, calendar, debriefing all happening at once, and it changes throughout the day. One of the features that I really like is being able to see birthdays for your contacts. So it'll remind you to tell someone happy birthday. It can even help you generate an image. I think one of the examples we saw was it making a slice of cake sent over to that person to wish them a happy birthday. That kind of stuff is just cool, and it looks really thoughtful. Now, there are other elements that Samsung has changed, like the settings menu, which in the past could be pretty overwhelming, but I think now they've tried to simplify it and make it a little bit cleaner. Didn't have a lot of time to really dig into that menu, but that's definitely something I look forward to spending more time with. But now what's deeply integrated into Samsung software is AI, and they're actually leveraging Gemini as well as Bixby. So depending on the kind of questions or requests that you have of the AI, it might use different software, but honestly, you won't be able to tell. They kind of blend the whole experience together, so it just feels like one unified AI system. But interestingly, it's 2 two different systems that are working together and handing off different requests depending on what you're asking and maybe even the app that you're in. For example, if you have a ton of photos and you use the search button, you can ask it to find or pull up pictures of a wine bottle. That's one of the examples they showed. It'll comb through all of your photos and give you exactly what you're looking for. And I think another example they showed was a wedding in Pittsburgh. So if you want specific locations or things that appear in the frame, because sometimes it's a pain to have to dig through a bunch of photos. I know I have like literally 100,000 photos in my album, and being able to just say, Austin eating ice cream at the park, and it being able to find that, I think is dope. And I think something else that's really cool is it being able to interact with your different apps, calendars or messages, all of that. You can ask your AI to do specific things. One of the things I tried was adding the next Lakers game to my calendar. And just like that, I was able to pull up the game time and add it to my calendar, which is extremely useful. That way you're not jumping between apps and you're not even Google searching anything. You're just asking it to do it all on its own. Very assistant level kind of stuff that I am really happy to see coming to phones. And I think that's the best way to leverage AI in these phones, when it starts interacting with our personal applications and it's able to do a little bit more than just give you information. But I will say though, being able to pull up information with AI based on the context of what's on your screen is actually pretty mind-blowing to me. I did like a random Google search of a Gundam. It's a robot show that I like watching, for those of you who don't know. But I was able to ask it like an obscure question, like who's the pilot of that robot? And without any context on the screen, it was able to identify the Gundam/robot and tell me the pilot of it based on the show. That is insane because it is so random. It is a random anime that I enjoy. I was actually blown away here. So if you're big on Android, you probably used or have heard of Circle to Search before, but now Samsung is introducing another feature called AI Select. Instead of just searching for content, you can actually make content. So depending on what you're selecting, you'll get a bunch of different options, and the options change depending on what's actually on the screen. Let's say you're watching a video. You can make a GIF out of the content that you're watching, or maybe if you pulled up a photo of something, you'll be able to make Photoshop-like edits with generative edit. If you're looking at something like text, you might get translation options or options to look up certain things. Fluid and constantly changing depending on what's there. I like that a lot, and it makes me feel like I have more of a reason to pull out the S Pen. Currently, I'll pull out the S Pen every now and then, but with AI Select, I feel like it breathes new life into the S Pen for me, since I'll be able to do a lot more with it. Now, there's gonna be a ton of AI features to cover. These were my favorite, but in the real day in the life, I'll show you guys everything you need to know. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe now to see that video, so we can see if these AI features actually make a difference in the real world. Now, let's talk about the cameras. Camera hasn't changed much, but there are new software features that we have access to. One that I think videographers will appreciate is Log, coming to Galaxy devices. I believe they're calling it Galaxy Log. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's basically videos with really flat images. That means not a lot of colors, and you're basically able to edit these a little bit more to your liking. It gives you more flexibility, but that's for the videographers out there. But also coming onto the video side of things is a new feature called Audio Eraser. So Audio Eraser is going to be useful if there's background noise, or maybe there's some kind of sound that just kind of kills the audio for your video. Now you're gonna be able to select the kind of audio that you want to remove from your video, whether that's like regular noise, crowd noise, wind. You'll be able to toggle just how much of that noise gets removed from your video, so you can just have straight up dialogue, and you can actually select how much you want it to be removed. That kind of flexibility is really nice, and I was able to test it out in person, and it works surprisingly well. And usually with those kind of features, you expect the voice of the person in the video to be really robotic, but it actually sounded a lot better than I expected. Now, on the photo side of things, we've all seen those magic eraser-like features where you can erase someone from the background. Now they're calling it generative edit, and it can automatically detect certain things that you might want out of your photo. But while the feature isn't new, I think the performance that I saw in person was really surprising. I took a selfie and had a few people in the background, and it did such a good job of removing them and filling in what it thought the background looked like. It was extremely clean, and I absolutely expected it to mess up somewhere, but it did such a good job. If you want to nitpick, of course you could, but what I saw it do left me very impressed. So from what I can tell with my hands on with these devices, Samsung is gunning for a different user experience, not just for it to feel like a new phone, but the way you interact with your phone, I think is what Samsung's really trying to change up with their devices. So honestly, I think that might be enough for me. I don't need the device to change completely, but if there are new features I can access and just do my everyday things with a lot better, I'm open to it. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Did Samsung do enough? Are you tired of AI? What do you think? Let me know with a comment down below. Do you think you're gonna upgrade? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Real day in the life, coming soon.